only dollar lectures. Shabba. Bon voyage, eh? Bon voyage, what's happening out there? Welcome to the third lecture, I believe this is. I don't know why I said it like that, I know exactly which one it is. Shabba! Yeah, welcome. You're going to be, when are you going to be on this now? We're on a Monday launch, show me, it's the only slot like I get on YouTube. Apologies for that. Trying to remedy it. We're on a Monday launch. Where are we today now? It's the day before Christmas Eve in reality. So I'm incorporating, using all my showbiz skills to work out when you're going to hear this. Monday, so you're going to hear it after Christmas, before. Well, how did your Christmas go? That's what I need to be asking you. How did it go? Was it worth the stress? Yeah? Borrowing money off thieves to buy things off cunts. Yeah? A lot of the time to give to twats. Merry Christmas. Good old Jesus, JC, Jeremy Corbyn, John Connerty. Who else? JC. I was thinking about this the other day. There's loads of JCs, and I can only remember two of them, and you'll only know one of them. Well, not to worry. Yeah, how did your Christmas go? Was it good? Are you in debt? Are you in debt again till about March, as you watch your children destroy the things you bought? I think I mentioned it briefly. No, I didn't. I mentioned it in something I've already recorded you haven't listened to. Oh, showbiz. See, it's hard work. It's hard work keeping up. But, yeah, I've just been a victim of something I've just been talking about. Just been off to buy some moulded plastic. Lego. Now, what's the crack with that these days? I'm trying to find just some Lego bricks, some basic Lego. Coco hasn't got any Lego. A couple of the little guys she's got now started building up a bit of a collection. But I want to get her some, some of the bricks. We can start building houses and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And no one seems to sell it because they're too busy selling the little specific little stuff. Do you know what I mean? I just bought a little Batman type thing. Some sort of a boat or whatever. Batman and Robin. 30 quid. 30 quid for what's probably about 40 pieces of Lego. Unbelievable, but obviously they got licensing fees to pay to the Batman people. Marvel, I presume. I think Disney are involved somewhere along the line. And yeah, the upshot is it's hard to find some actual Lego because there's probably no money in it. When am I going to go and get a bucket of Lego? It's going to be about 400 quid. Going by the current sort of, current figures are being quoted. But still, it's weird actually, because my youngest daughter, she's 5 nearly. And she's just like a boy, I got no, well, I got to be careful what I say here. But this trans business that's going on these days, every 5th kid in school is trans, apparently, from what I can work out now. One like that in my day, there's no trans kids. Maybe 1, 2 teachers max. And we never found out about that till we were about 17, to get out of the school. Mr. Greeny, or Grainy, I think his proper name was, in Ulfa, music teacher in Ulfa, when I was in a posh school. And turned out that he was transsexual. He was transvest. No, trans in the old days would be transvestite. That's it. That's where I got confused for a while. I just did then, but it confused me for years. Everybody's trans, LGBT. He was a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans. And for ages, I just thought they were transvestites. It was like, well, why do they need grants just to buy dresses? Do you know what I mean? But apparently that's transsexual, so, I was born a boy, trapped in a girl's body. Don't know how lucky you are. I spent most of my teenage years trying to get trapped in a girl's body, unsuccessfully most of the time. But I'm a rich man, very rich man I am, trapped in a skint bloke's life. Hence, I'm off to the Zon soon. Don't worry, a few episodes time. I won't be mentioning it because it'll be history, hopefully. But for my last shift before Christmas. And, yeah, I've got to pick orders for like 11 hours to pay for a couple of items. The first 2 or 3 items I'll pick if it is, Lego related. First 2 or 3 items I'll pick and put on the trolley to send off to somebody. I'll have to work for 10 or 11 hours to pay for that. Now, something's wrong there, I'm not very good at maths, even though my only qualification coming out of school is a CSE grade 2 in maths, but my maths isn't great. It used to be, but as I've mentioned in previous episodes, my memory's not all that, so most of what I learnt maths related, I really can't remember. My brain, and 46 I am, my brain honestly does not work as quick as it used to, which is quite disturbing at my age, because it is quite young really, if I'm going to live a full sort of 80, 90 years, God only knows what states my head's going to be in come the back 9. Well, the last few holes of the back 9 actually. I'm just at the turn now. If I live, that's a thought. If I live to 90, I'm on the back 9 already. Probably about 6 over par. And losing balls left, right, and centre. God, that's a thought. Everybody used to say that to you when you were a kid, and life goes so quick, and when you're young, you just think it's all a load of bollocks, don't you? Because I remember the big thing for me being like 10 or something like that, which would have been in 1979, would have been the millennium, thinking, the year 2000, it was this thing in the distance, She thought, how old will I be then? How old will I be then? And what anticlimax that turned out to be, the old 9900 handover. What were we told? The computers are all going to go down. There's going to be absolute chaos. I just woke up with a fucking hangover from hell. Not a lot else had changed. And the computer systems were working fine, apparently. So, yeah, that was an anticlimax. But life does go very quickly. Any kids out there, any other youth, because I'm very popular amongst the youth. Seeing as my illustrious TV career started on BBC Three before I broke the channel. Obviously there'll be a lot of people, a lot younger than me watching that. And, rest assured, it won't be long until you're old and jaded. It won't be long at all, it goes really quick. But on some levels, I've never been happier, I've sort of come to accept what a lot of people have always been trying to tell me, that I am actually a bit of a twat. I used to fight that label. I thought, no, I'm not. I'm alright, I am. I'm alright. But secretly, I've always agreed with you. I've thought I'm a twat from long before you have, but just, publicly, you don't like to admit it to, especially being, well, I'd say especially being, how do I know? But being a bloke, you don't really like to admit you're a twat. I remember, even with the boys I grew up with, it was only when we got into our 20s that anybody would admit to anybody else that they were a twat. Because I grew up thinking I was the only twat on the planet. And then I got to an age where, people would start telling me it, you're a twat, you are, mind. And I'd automatically go, no, I'm not. When I'd been saying the very same thing in my head since I could learn to speak in my head. Strange, really, life. But yeah, anyway, welcome to part 3, lecture 3, should I say, to give it its working title. I've been, looking into the feedback I've been getting from these lectures. A lot of it very positive, from myself. A couple of, in inverted commas, friends, tell me, you need to be a bit more lively. It's all a bit, dour, and it's like, this is how I am, to be honest with you. For me to be in the headspace to sit down and talk to myself, I have to be feeling quite relaxed, I think. And when I am relaxed, I suppose I do come across as quite dour. I'm not one of these overexcitable people. I don't think I have been since I was about 7. And it didn't work then. It doesn't work now. I'm not a local radio DJ. I'm not Paul Evans, DJ Paul Evans. Funny enough, people who've known me for a while, or who know of my sort of prank call history. I got an illustrious prank call history. There's my personal favourite call. You can find it on YouTube, right? And I suggest you do, actually, if you've never heard it before. I suggest you do. Search YouTube for Pearl Necklace George from Llanryddion. Now, for the English amongst you, that's LLANRID. That's Romeo India Delta. IAN India Alpha November. George from Llanryddion. DJ Paul Evans, local radio DJ. I'll give you a bit of background on him quickly. He's a fucking paedophile. That's all the background you need to know on him. But that call is my personal favourite. A lot of people say, oh no, it's my grandfather's cock. Oh no, it's the Kevin Keegan call. Oh, it's the Soccer AM call, Everybody's got their favourites. Mine is George from Llanryddion. The reason that I'm telling you to go and have a listen to that is because I've hatched this plan, which I'm going to further with my producer, the illustrious KD Lang. And there's a few samples I want to take off that call, and we're going to make it into a track. And then I'm going to launch that track on the lectures. So yeah, have a listen to that call, and the track may make more sense to you then. If it doesn't, you'll just see what a fantastic call it is, Brilliant. Yeah, but as I said, a lot of people say, oh, you need to be a bit more upbeat, and funnily enough, there was a chap who, I respected this totally, actually, because I agreed with him slightly. He put a comment on the YouTube comment section after the second lecture. I lasted 13 minutes, as dull as a Roy Hodgson interview. I read that, I thought, that's fair enough, mate. Thanks for the 30 minutes of your life you're never going to get back, Because I listened to that episode once, all of it, so I lost nearly a fucking hour. But yeah, I can take criticism like that, because he's taken the trouble to listen to it, and gave it a full 13 minutes and thought, this isn't for me, this guy is fucking boring. And I don't disagree with him there, so yeah, I can't remember your name. But you're not going to be listening now, are you? I don't imagine you come back for another crack. But yeah, cheers anyway, whoever you were. Derek something, I think, actually, off the top of my head. Thanks for the comment, yeah. And, I'll try and take that on board. Cause it's a little better than Chickenhead, Chickenhead, as some of you may know from the Crack Centre. When I launched the first lecture, he said to me, I was expecting it to be funny. And I thought, oh, that's fair enough, yeah, if you've heard it. And then he said to me, where are you working now? Which I discussed in the first lecture. So he'd taken the trouble to tell me it wasn't funny, and he hadn't bothered listening to it. That sort of criticism, what's that all about? There's a German word in there. I can never remember this word. There's a German word for people who do, take pleasure in others' misfortune and, that sort of attitude. Yeah, cunts. That's it, cunts. I can never remember that. But yeah, thanks for that, Matthew Chickenhead Thomas. If you've taken the trouble to listen to this one, at least you've had a name check. So yeah, feel free to leave your comments, under in the comments section on YouTube, because I will take all your feedback on board, as I've always said. Appreciate people taking the time to listen and commenting. Because at the end of the day, I was thinking about this the other day, is this a really egotistical thing to be doing, you know? I was thinking, right, so what you do, you talk to yourself, you know, about whatever you want to talk about, and then I put it on Facebook, and then I share it, saying, hey, everybody, listen to me. Do you know what I mean? But I know full well I am not fucking saying anything worth hearing, really. Do you know what I mean? So it does make me think, oh, what the fuck's that all about? Because it's a weird one. As I mentioned before, you know, I did have a crack at stand-up comedy, and that's a similar thing, you know. For people to stand up on stage and say, look, listen guys, I'm so funny, right? Come and see me, and I make you laugh. And it's just like, what's that all about? I used to find it weird when I was first trying to do stand-up. I was doing it at the comedy nights I was putting on myself, and trying to sell tickets to people when I was going to be doing stand-up there. It just seemed like a piss take in some levels, even though I did have proper comedians there. A lot of them were very good, very good indeed, actually. Trevor Locke, Brian Gittins, Chris Dangerfield, Benjamin Crellin, Tony Moresi, Darius Davis. What's the girl's name now? Something Helmsley. Apologies, I can't remember your first name. But they were all excellent comedians. I'm sure they still are. Been around for years, you know. Just victims of a comedy scene. That's dominated largely by fucking idiots, you know. Fucking idiots. Whitesnake, Jack Whitesnake and people like that. But, strange one. Is this egotistical? Probably, it's probably some last desperate attempt for me trying to give myself some self-worth. Is it working? We'll see. At this very second, not so much. You're listening to Griff's Lonely Dollar Lectures. Shabba! Hey, what's happening out there? What's happening? Have you noticed? Welcome back, sorry. Have you noticed? I'm a bit disillusioned at the moment. As you may be able to tell in my voice as this lecture progresses. But I've realised that nobody prays for Paris anymore. That didn't last long, did it? Very disappointed in you guys. As is God. He's wondering where you've all gone to. Why do people do that, eh? Pray for Paris. That whole business bothered me. You know, don't get me wrong. People getting slain in the street by a bunch of psychopaths. I nearly swore and I said I would try not to. People getting slain in the street by psychopaths is obviously a horrible thing. But the only thing worse than that, the only thing more insulting to me, to their families and to their memories, is to have every Tom, Dick and Harry praying for the entire city for no apparent reason other than it's what we do. Pray for Paris, pray for this, pray for that. Fucking hell. Pray for yourself. Do you know what I mean? If you're one of the people, if you go through your social media history, right, and if the hashtag pray for Paris crops up anywhere with your name attached to it, pray for yourself, because you're the one in need. What's that all about? Footballers now, every other goal, right? People are either thanking God or dedicating it to dead relatives. When did that become a thing? A thing? Never used to happen in Joe Jordan's day, that's for sure. We all know people who died, We can just, think of them, think about them, talk about them. Don't dedicate a fucking goal to them, for fuck's sake. Dedicate your life to them. Do something real. Impressionables, the impressionable footballers are. I would imagine, anyway, because they've been sort of mollycoddled through life, really, to a degree, you know. You get your footballers bursting on the scene as sort of 18, 19-year-olds. Obviously, probably been spotted, you know, most of the time as a 7, 8-year-old. Talent spotted and signed up and all that. So they get the age of 19 or 20. You know, they probably never wanked into a sock, most of them. You know, not a dirty sock anyway. They probably buy socks purely to wank into and never actually wear them. You know, they haven't lived, half of them. But when did that become a thing? You know, is that the influence of foreign footballers or whatever? Because obviously, you know, that's Spanish and they seem to be a lot more religiously retarded, you know, in sort of Spain, Italy and places like that. You know, people used to just do it quietly, you know. People used to do it quietly back in the days, back in my day, anyway. You know, if you were properly religious when I was a kid, you'd be seen as the local nutter. It was Johnny Davis. Funny enough, I was listening to Dangerfield's podcast, and he said in that, you know, there's always that one religious kid in school, and I had that, Johnny Davis. Llanach Lane, you know, anybody from the Calais stroke Dunvant area will remember Johnny, about 5 brothers, religious nut job, lovely guy, played right back for Dunvant, and he actually taught me how to play chess. I used to go to his house dinner times, you know, strictly above board. Don't get me wrong, one of those types of religious people, you know. Usually, if a religious person asked you round his house at dinner time when I was in a junior school, chances are you were going to get fucked in your ass. But Johnny wasn't like that. He just taught me how to play chess. And I've never forgotten that. Never forgotten how to play chess. But I don't play very often. I find it, what's the word? I find it mentally painful. I don't know what it is for me. You know, a lot of people like to be mentally challenged. I just find it stress. I find playing chess stressful. You know, when you really commit to a game. Especially if you're playing against somebody of a sort of equal sort of standard, you know, and you really have to dig your head in. I just, I have the same problem with crosswords. You know, I'll just mentally give it my all for a few minutes and it's like, fuck, it's in my head somewhere. I just can't find it, you know. I can't find it. I know it's in there. So that's all I need to know, you know. That's what my knowledge is like now. I don't know if it's self-inflicted, you know. I don't know if I've got sort of early onset Alzheimer's, you know, but so gently and subtly that that it feels normal not to be able to remember anything. But, you know, sounds stupid, but the problem is I can't remember if I've always been like this, you know, if it's something that's just crept up. Did abuse the old mushrooms and acid for a while, back in the 80s, 90s, I suppose it was. And I've had a bit of alcohol in my life and sort of, you know, smoked a lot of weed and stuff like that. You know, along with sort of 50% of the 2 recognised grade A's, the socially acceptable ones, heroin and coke. Or heroin and crack, to give them their working titles. But, so I don't know if it's, you know, I don't know if that type of thing hasn't helped. But, you know, as I say, the way I see it, as long as I know the information's in my head, then it makes me feel intelligent, you know. I haven't got to find it and tell somebody or use it in a crossword or whatever to big myself up. It's all in that. And that's, you know, the only place it needs to be. That's why I've stopped reading. I used to read quite a lot. I've stopped reading now because by the time I get to the end of a page, you know, either my mind's drifted off and I've just sort of, you know, read it without realising I've read it, or or I find myself sort of concentrating too much to the point of, it's not going in naturally. Same with films. I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched a film. Apart from with young Cocolina, my youngest daughter. But I can't remember the last time I watched a film of my own choice. Because it's like attention span. My attention span is not what it was. I used to be able to sit down and watch films. Surely at some point I did. And I find now I'll just really get engrossed in it for sort of 40 minutes and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't commit to any more of it. It's, I'm not suggesting this is the way forward or anything, and I'm not suggesting anybody sort of, goes looking for any explanation to this, but I'm more than aware of it, It's a little bit disconcerting, because there's all these films that I've heard mentioned, which it dawns on me that I've never watched, not to the end anyway. The Green Mile, people always mention the Green Mile, and I'm like, yeah, the first half hour was good, wasn't it? And then I sort of turned off then when that black guy was sitting there with them kids and everybody was going, ooh, you're bad, you are. We're going to judge you. We're going to judge you without knowing the full facts. But, maybe that's what I'll do when I retire. I'm semi-retired, now semi-retarded. When I get too old to look, when I get too old to be in and out of work. I heard somebody say once in a meeting. Can't say what the meeting was because there's a lot of anonymity sort of attached to it. But suffice to say, it was a narcotics-based meeting. Press, radio, films. No, I didn't say podcasts, right? So I can say this. The firm will know what I was doing there. Most people won't. Luckily for you. But I heard a guy say once that, my life was, such a mess that I was actually looking forward to being in a nursing home. Guy was about 26, but he had a point. It's like a sort of youth club, isn't it? It's full circle. People come full circle, really. It's like a youth club or like a student house, but with somebody to do the dishes. Because obviously, not the sort of nursing homes I'm probably going to end up in, where you're given a piece of toast every 3 days and a new nappy every 4 days and a visitor once a month. But the sort of nursing homes, the ones that got a bit of coin, the ones where their family haven't fleeced all of their money out of them. I saw something once. Was it in Holland? See, as I say, I'm not going to be able to remember this properly. But there was nursing homes in Holland. I think. Yeah, there was it was more like a sort of a little village. Excuse me. I got very chesty at the moment. I was reading on the Evening Post Facebook page about this, what they call it, blood rain. Apparently there's a lot of dust being picked up from the Sahara Desert, fetched over here, and now it's falling out of the clouds in the rain. Blood rain is called. Not very good for the asthmatics or, people like myself whose lungs sort of inflate about 4 mil per breath. So yeah, blood rain. But now this Dutch nursing home, it was set up, it was more like a small village, but it was sort of secure, it was fenced, I suppose, to a degree, but sort of done, with dignity, dignified fencing, which is available now, apparently, from the Zon, £18 per metre. And and it's about 9 meters high. No, but yeah, it's like a fenced sort of nursing home stroke village. So there's like shops there, so people with early onset Alzheimer's and dementia or things like that, can live with a degree of freedom. Because obviously, you see it all the time on Facebook. Oh, there's a dog gone missing, there's a kid gone missing, oh, there's a senior citizen's gone missing. Walked out of the nursing home in his pyjama bottoms and a tie. And hadn't been seen for 3 weeks. But, it must be, there must be a better way of doing things than we're doing them, do you know what I mean? Because we're all going to get old one day. Apparently people are living longer, apart from the ones who die. And, nobody wants to be in the equivalent of a jail, do they? Apart from the bloke I was on about earlier from the meeting. But, it could be so beautiful, couldn't it? I read somewhere as well, there's some sort of memory flickering through my head of some sort of nursing home where they get school kids, like infants and younger, sort of 4 or 5-year-olds, to go into these sort of nursing homes to interact with the senior citizens, do you know what I mean? Just to, it's jobs like that. My sisters do work like that. They go to old people's houses, to help them stay independent and all that business. And these jobs, they should be sort of high-paying jobs. They should be well-paid jobs. To attract decent people. Not like my sisters. Oh God, this bloody mercury. What's it called? Blood rain. I don't know what I was on about mercury. And the blood rain from the Sahara, it's got right on my chest. I'm going to have a cigarette to try and compensate for it. Yeah, but, they say that, they say you can judge a civilization, or you can judge a society by the way they treat their animals, they say, don't they? Or you can judge a person. You can judge a person by their attitude to animals. I don't know who they are, and I've never actually heard it said, but I've heard it said that it's said. But even if it's never been said, it's actually still true. It's very true. Oh, something else I was just reminded to tell you then, yeah. Years ago, no, I didn't appeal it, but it was a ridiculous decision. I was given 240 hours community service by the magistrate's court. I believe it was for criminal damage. Now, I'm not sure which particular case this was, because there were several. I went through a phase. I was working in a double glazing factory. Well, not a double glazing factory. I was working in a factory that manufactured double glazed window frames. We didn't make the glass. I don't want to lie. Don't want to lie in the story. But we did used to provide the glass to the customers, if we're going to go into this in any great depth. Lima's manufacturing. Wonderful memories of working there, actually. Absolute fucking mayhem. But during my time working there, I started off on a YTS set. Now, for my younger sort of listeners, that was called a youth training scheme. It's for people who shouldn't really be going to uni. They all go to uni now, do you know what I mean? But this is for the people that shouldn't really be going to uni or college, just to get them into work, I used to have about 35 quid a week, which was a lot of money for me as a 16-year-old in about 86, 85 maybe. And I got kept on then full time. I was earning a couple of £100 a week. But during my time working I used to do a lot of drinking. I was quite a good drinker in those days. And several times when I got drunk, I used to smash windows. It happened down the Mumbles in a club called Cinderella's, or Rella-Roo, as we used to call it. That was quite funny, actually, because I got thrown out of there for some reason. Travesty of justice, probably, but I can't remember what happened. got thrown out by the bouncers. As they threw me out of the door, I turned round, kicked the door. I'd just been thrown out. Oh, but they threw me out when it was open. Then they closed it. Then I kicked it, just so you can build a picture in your head. And the glass at the bottom, the glass panel broke. The glass pane at the bottom sort of cracked when I kicked it. I turned round thinking it's probably a good time to leave now. You know, they thought it was a good time for me to leave about a minute before, but a minute later I was sort of agreeing with them. So I thought, right, it's time to get out of here. Turned round and literally, like in some sort of comedy sketch, literally walked into two coppers who were in the vicinity of this club. So it must have been one of the quickest arrests after a crime has been committed in the history of Rallaroo. Because, I was in police custody, in the police's hands, probably within, I'd say, 1.4 seconds of committing the crime. And that was £184, was it 184, 188? Something like that. That was a fine or compensation or whatever it was. I don't know. I didn't read it properly because I never paid it. But this wasn't the incident I'm on about in this particular story about the community service. It was either one that happened in Mumbles, which I do believe it was actually. Hull Hughes Gate. Or possibly Uplands. I don't think it was the Uplands. That was a New Year's Eve on the Uplands. That was a great one. Have you ever been arrested on New Year's Eve? Yeah, good laugh. Good laugh. Got arrested. It's in police custody, and I remember quite clearly, actually, probably the clearest thing I remember of that night, but midnight in the old Swansea police station, they got a new unit now, a lovely plush unit it is. I was down there the other day, chaperoning a family member, as I may have mentioned. But in the old police station, and on the stroke of 12, because the old police station had this big, huge clock, as built in as part of the building, and old building. See, one of the ones that Hitler's boys missed, one of the old buildings. And as these bells started striking 12, the hatch in my cell opened, the hatch on the door, and a policeman came up and gave me a glass of water and a cigarette. And I thought, bloody nice one, mate. You're working on New Year's Eve, having to look after idiots like myself. And he took it upon himself to fetch me a glass of water and a fag. I'll never forget. I can't remember him, but I'll never forget what he did. So that was nice. But I'm pretty sure the incident that has started off this train of thought, this reminiscing of crimes gone by. I think it was Mumbles, smashed a load of windows in the Mumbles. Got done for assault for apparently biting a guy's little finger, biting his finger, and it was actually his little finger, his pinky. Have you ever been fined for biting someone's pinky? I bet you've answered no to these two questions so far. But yeah, I had quite a heavy fix. It was funny, actually. Yeah, sorry, I'm going round in circles here, but the memories are flooding back. I'm a little bit sort of overwhelmed at the moment, thinking about it. But yeah, the Rallaroo, 184 quid, kicked the door, bang, turned round, got nicked. Uplands, New Year's Eve, Anthony Holly's fault for winding me up. Got arrested, had a fag and some water at 12. Mumbles, which I won't go too deeply into how it all began because it involves other people who got no interest in talking about this publicly. But that one was the one where I had the community service, 240 hours, and what I had to do on the 240 hours used to get picked up on a minibus by a bloke called Alwyn, I think his name was. But he didn't pick us up. We had to go and meet in town, and then he picked us all up together, a load of reprobates together, a bus full of a mob of petty criminals, and we go on the bus. out to Port Talbot, up into the valleys, and we go and pick up a load of old biddies. Who, some of them couldn't walk, or they couldn't walk far, some in wheelchairs. I think they were mainly in wheelchairs, but they couldn't walk far anyway, that's for sure. And then we used to take them either to Port Talbot or to Swansea, and they'd spend a day in town then, and we'd have to wouldn't have to, just be polite, but we'd push them round in their wheelchairs, and they'd tell us where they wanted to go, and then they could do their shopping or whatever they wanted to do, go to the market. So, it was good. It was good use of... it was a good punishment, Made sense, anyway, It was literally putting something back in the community, albeit, an old biddy. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's my point. And I'm trying to sort of tie this into what I was saying earlier about, you can judge a society by how they look after their elderly and their animals and their vulnerable and things like that. These are the reasons why you should bitterly hate politicians, the people who are supposedly looking out for us. And the way that they're currently treating the most vulnerable members of society is really quite sick. But anyway, I remember the lady I used to push on a regular basis, her name was Mary Jones, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a strange time in my life. I think I was only in my early 20s, and right off my twat. But I used to really enjoy her company. She was a lovely lady. I remember once she was a bit down one week because she was she was like the union leader of the old biddies on the bus. And I remember one week she wanted herself. I could just tell. Do you know what I mean? She was quiet and all that. And I said, "Oh, what's up, Mary?" and all that. And she was, "No, nothing." And I later discovered she'd just found out she had throat cancer, and and that really upset me actually. Feeling a tinge of emotion now. She's probably long gone, but she will be dead now. Christ, she'll be about 150 if she's not.
We're going to be right back after the break. We're going to be right back after the break. Saba!
Yeah, but say, we'll be right back after the break, and then you stop, and then you say, Shaba. Go on then.
We'll be right back after the break. Saba! Like that.
Yeah, that was better. But say it a bit louder. Say, we'll be right back after the break. Don't do that, you silly girl. We'll be right back after the break.
We'll be right back after the break. Saba!
And, I enjoyed that. Enjoyed that. As did most of the lads, Because we weren't the most organised bunch of boys. Alvin was a funny one as well, but... we must have stood out like a sore thumb, to be honest. The minibus would pull up. Out would get sort of 10 juvenile delinquents and 10 sort of, well-to-do, classic grannies, really. So we'd quickly spread out as quickly as possible. Enjoyed that. I remember at the time I was reading American Psycho. And I always used to read it, on the bus, because we used to go up into Port Talbot and out into the valleys and all that. So we go out in the middle of nowhere, and these people used to live, all over the place. They were spread far and wide. So it would be like a good hour and a half, picking them up, and a good hour and a half dropping them back. And I always used to find it a bit strange reading American Psycho in that environment. Especially as some of the more... what's the word I can use? Some of the more technical aspects of his skullduggery. It was a strange environment to read that, but started watching that film, but couldn't watch it all. That's another one. Yeah, I'm seeing all these films out the Zon, as I mentioned. And obviously you get to see what people are buying. Oh, a funny thing that happened. I hate, there's certain people I hate, right? I don't hate, I'm not a cannibal, I hate. It's like the comedy sort of scene, right? I've always, had an interest in comedy or whatever, because it's supposed to make you laugh, innit? And laughing's quite fun. And, you know, I remember there was this thing, oh, comedy's going to be the new rock and roll. Do you know what I mean? And what a fucking joke that turned out to be. But, you know, and it's only my opinion, but most of the sort of, I don't know, the famous comedians or whatever, are all pretty sort of diluted and lame. And, you know, I'm sure comedy used to be more exciting in the past. Well, not in the past, but it should be a more important thing. Comedians should be, you know, they've got a perfect opportunity to say what the fuck they want without any censorship. And most of the ones who tend to be in it for the sort of money and the glory, the first thing that they're happy to sort of give up is their actual freedom of speech, you know, because it's like, well, if you do that sort of stuff, you know, the TV people aren't going to like it, it's going to affect your DVD sales, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and a lot of them will go, oh, all right then, yeah, I better toe the line. You know, don't get me wrong, there's some good comedians, you know, famous ones who, you know, don't push the barriers, you know, they just talk about how they see things, and I find a lot of them I find, you know, Peter Kay, I think Peter Kay is really funny. I love Phoenix Nights. Love it a lot, do you know what I mean? But there's certain ones, and it seems to be the, bear with me, that bloody Saharan juice. It's doing me in a kipper. But there's like a sort of a new wave, you know, of the last few years. You know, you got your Russell Caines, you got your Russell Howards, and my pet hate is Jack Whitehall. Now, when the call centre was on, you know, Nev, I'll do anything to get on TV. I'll do anything for publicity, Wilshire. He went on that Jack Whitehall's programme, the programme he has with his paedophilic-looking father. And, yeah, I remember Nev was on that. And after I'd left the call centre, Jack Whitehall went to the call centre, I think, to film, you know, a few little bits of crap to put on his programme when Nev was on it. You know, it was like, oh, let's go and see how the other half live. And they were all having their photos with him, all loving it and all that, you know, and the guy's a fucking idiot, do you know what I mean? Absolute fucking bellend. He's not funny, he's just one of these, like, annoying public schoolboy gimps. You know, the only reason he's a comedian and I'm not is because he can remember things. I can't. So he'll write these fucking scripts of his, and then he'll go out and perform the same script every night at every gig. And he'll pretend he's just making it up as he goes along, and, you know, and he's obviously been practicing his whole life for shit like that because he's been revising for his exams and things like that. So, you know, it was all laid out before him, wasn't it, you know, and the guy's a fucking prick. And I've told him that a few times on Twitter until he blocked me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, I was in the Zon, walking around the other day, you know, picking orders to send out to people for Christmas presents or whatever they all, you know, the reasons they're buying them. And this handheld sort of computer gun-looking thing you carry around just tells you what's next. So you haven't got a big list, you just, you know, it tells you what your next item is and where it is. And I had to pick one of his CDs, and I thought, oh yeah, Griff, who's the bloody idiot now, eh? You know, slagging him off and blah, blah, blah. And I knew that, you know, working a night shift, collecting all these sort of items to be sent out. And I had to go through the humiliation of picking up his one of his DVDs to put on my tote to be sent out. And, you know, it didn't escape me, do you know what I mean? the irony, or whatever the word you want to use is, the embarrassment, the humiliation I felt. It was like, right, so this is what you do with your life, Griff, and this is what he does. But not exactly flying off the shelves, Jack, because I ain't picked any more of them up. You know? Let me just say that. They're not exactly flying off the shelves. But no, I remember things like Eddie Murphy. I remember, like, I think it was the Raw, Eddie Murphy Raw, it was called. And somebody had it on cassette. And we'd listen to it on cassette, and everybody would sit around the cassette player listening to it. And I thought it was amazing. I remember Billy Connolly. I remember seeing Billy Connolly on TV once when I was a kid. I think it was an audience with Billy Connolly. I remember taping it on VHS. And, you know, harmless sort of stuff, you know, observational or whatever, but fucking funny. Do you know what I mean? Proper funny, because these people had lived a bit, you know. They'd lived, and then they'd make comedy out of what they'd sort of lived. Do you know what I mean? Fucking what does Jack Whitehall, what living has he done that, you know, that most people can relate to? Do you know what I mean? I was in the showers once in school, yeah, and, you know, and the cricket master stuck a stump up my ass with my father's permission. Oh, did he, Jack? Sorry, mate, can't really relate to that type of stuff. School I went to, it was the teachers would have stumps up the ass, you know, and up the ass if they were lucky. If they'd been fucking us about, it'd be over their fucking head. I know I'm not supposed to swear, but I did 3 times then, I believe. Yeah, so, as I say, you know, I felt, for a couple of seconds, it was a depressing feeling, you know, when I walked along and it was like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's that prick's DVD, you know. I was more sad for society than for myself, to be honest with you. I tried doing a bit of stand-up comedy, actually. First time I did it was filmed as part of that call centre program, but they didn't actually show it. You know, the beauty of TV, fucking TV, they just lie so much. Do you know what I mean? They even changed, they twisted my reality, right? The reality of my life. They changed it to fit into their program. You know? In the first series, they said that I left my job to pursue stand-up comedy. That's not what happened. I was doing the stand-up when they were there filming, because they filmed the fucking first time I did stand-up. And I was hoping that they were going to show it on the program, you know. And I could become the first person in history to have their debut stand-up performance, first time ever doing stand-up comedy, seen by 1 million people. You know, that was my motivation. And they filmed it. And they told me how great it was, and they didn't even bother showing it. And then, to add insult to injury, they said in the programme, all right, Griff's left to pursue stand-up. No, I left because the job was a fucking joke. Working in a call centre, actually, right? If ever you hate your job, yeah, whatever you do, I don't know what you all do, so I know what a few of you do, you know, but I don't know what most of you do. Go and work in a call centre for 1 day, right? You know, go to one of these call centres, especially these sort of outbound, sort of telesales type ones. Just go to one of them, because they'll employ any old cunt. So just go to one of them and say, oh, hi, I'd like to work for you. I'm prepared to work for 1 day for nothing, just to show you, you know, how committed I am. And they'll bite your hand off, because most of them won't pay you anyway properly. Look at them point that. And spend 1 day doing telesales, and then go back to your real job, which was previously pissing you off, and you'll think, fuck, this is alright, this is. You know, I'm doing 12-hour shifts at the moment. Well, 11, is it? 11? Yeah, 11 technically. You take the breaks out. Night shift. You know, walking around, as I mentioned earlier, or not earlier, earlier in our relationship. You know, in the equivalent of a Tesco's the size of Neath. Doing the equivalent of a shopping order for my mum of 30,000 items. Doing that all night. And compared to working in a call centre, it's an absolute fucking pleasure and a privilege to do it. It really is. I'm starting to actually like it in some sort of twisted way. And I wouldn't consider myself to be OCD, but it is quite satisfying, right? To wander off with a tote and a gun. With a shopping list of, you know, realistically, we're talking about 180, 190 items. And what I try and do is fit them all on the tote. You know, what you're supposed to do, if it's full, take it in, and then complete the order on a second one, you know. But I'm getting such pleasure from finding ways of fitting it all on the one tote. You know, my stacking skills, I've come on leaps and bounds over the last few weeks. My stacking skills are better than they've ever been at the moment. And yeah, it'll pay for my kids' Christmas presents, this job, so that, you know, makes it worth doing in itself. It's weird actually, because you know, where I work, you'll see like, you know, there's Lego, for example, you know, and you'll just see boxes and boxes and, you know, pallets full of these things, you know. And next week I'll be going into, you know, Toys R Us or something like that to buy them myself. And I know it already, the prices are going to be obscene, you know, for what it is. Because what have people done really? You know, you get a factory, right, in China. You fill it full of cheetards, as they call them over there, and they're just sort of melting plastic into various molds, and then they're shipping it over here, and then they're saying, yeah, that's 50 quid. Do you know what I mean? 50 fucking quid for, you know, this plastic, whatever. It's a fucking joke. You know, it's an absolute joke. That was better. We'll say it a bit louder, say, we'll be right back after the break. Don't do that, you silly girl. We'll be right back after the break.
We'll be right back after the break. Sabah.